This is probably the least chaotic that I've ever made this board. That doesn't mean there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of context behind all of this. So 2024 is starting off explosively with some pretty great records and some pretty fiery disses. So we're going to start off with Megan Thee Stallion with Hiss first. This is kind of a return for Megan Thee Stallion, who has had her name dragged through the mud for the past maybe year and a half by the Tory Lanez fan base, the Drake fan base, which is even larger. A lot of this hate has been really, really aggressive. And I will admit personally myself, I kind of played into it. I kind of played into the jokes. But now the more I look into it, and especially coming back with this song, which is a diss, kind of just a song by itself, there is so much to discuss. There's so much for Megan to get off of her chest and to put out there, and not to mention she has a lot of responding to do. And a lot of people have given that ammunition to her, and that's why this diss song, also just track by itself, is warranted because it fires shots at Tory Lanez, obviously fires shots at Drake, who all the way to Circo Loco was making these bars saying that there was the lying about the shooting, and Nicki Minaj also played into that as well. A lot of people were really just going at Megan. So to come back with this record, it just makes sense. But it also helps that this song is rapid, it's explosive, it's chaotic, but it's also very calculated. The shots here that are taken are very quick, but they are very potent. And it's a nice way to return to form to the rap scene. And I have a feeling we're probably going to be getting an album pretty soon. This song already has 8 million streams, by the way. Like, people are wanting Megan Thee Stallion to come back. And now that I'm really thinking about it, taking the hate glasses off and taking off the just kind of joining in with the laughing at Megan Thee Stallion and the situation, like, Megan Thee Stallion is a quality rapper. She can flow her ass off. She is great with lyricism. She's a very underrated lyricist. She has great punchlines, and she has just a great presence on the mic. And once she starts rapping, she commands your attention. Even if she's flowing really fast, maybe she's kind of breaking off into kind of a monologue or a tangent in the middle of the song, but you still keep your attention to her, especially she's going through this song. And it's a diss record. It's not going to be the most calculated thing with the verse, and then you get a chorus, and then a verse and a chorus. It's very much just go, 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 go. But to all that you have to respond to, and to what you're coming back with, I think that this is a nice return to form, and it was the best decision to go with. If you would have came back with a poppy single, if she would have came back working with like a pop artist, I feel like that the hate and the jokes would not stop. I think that with this track, it kind of puts it dead in its tracks, and it brings a lot of people onto Megan's side, and you can tell by the score, which is an 83 off of Album of the Year. Album of the Year, by the way, is an extremely critical website. I need to tell you this right now. A lot of times they like the more experimental, the more rock kind of records. So when you get an 83 from Album of the Year, and I think Rate Your Music is pretty high too, you did your job and you've won already. The general consensus is that Megan absolutely wiped with this response. She already won, but then Nicki Minaj decided that she was going to drop a diss record, which apparently, I think either this was today or yesterday, she responded on Twitter or X saying that this isn't a diss record. So it's a 2. I'm just going to move on. This is not out of 10. 2 out of 100. I recorded my review for Penis for my Little Dicky about a week ago. The lowest song I think on that record that I can remember was like a 4 or a 5. I think it was a 4. I've never seen a song go under a 2 before. and I thought Lil Dicky Earth was bad. This one is terribly received. Bankroll Got It did an amazing production on this, by the way. This sounds polished. This sounds like it has been in the making for a while. This definitely sounds like this was made in like 2 minutes. Takeo Bang brings one of the worst beats I have heard this year, and I listened to the Lil Dicky record. Sounds like a Detroit drill kind of thing, or a Detroit rap kind of thing. And Nicki Minaj uses these crazy vocal inflections, which she's used many times before, and she's used it across multiple records. But man, it sounds so messy. And the recording of this song is, it sounds like she's like, say the mic is like right here, for example. It sounds like it's this far away, and then 2 lines later, it sounds like it's like this, and then you get back to the middle where it sounds okay, and then it goes like this, and it just sounds terrible. She probably was drunk when she recorded this disc. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but man, was this track bad. And that's not even getting into the last part of the song. For some reason, this is just a weird joke and a weird kind of thing that keeps popping in my head whenever I listen to the song. It kind of sounds like, if I don't know why I get Ursula from The Little Mermaid, but whenever she's talking or whenever she's rapping in this really like voice, it just reminds me of Ursula from My Little Mermaid, and I can't get that image out of my head. It just sounds so bad. It sounds so goofy. It sounds so cartoonish. And then the lines in here. She mentions her Megan's dead mom easily 20 plus times every single time, and not to mention the Bigfoot. She's tall. That is another diss on this song. um Not, I forgot to mention about the Megan's Law line on Hiss. Probably the most potent line throughout this entire saga so far. The Megan's Law, it just sounds good rolling off the tongue. It sounds good in the bar, and then it has so much context like right into that bar. Nicki Minaj's husband is a sex offender. I think we all know where any rapper would go. And I don't know how you defend that. I don't know how, when you're a rapper, you can defend your husband being a sex offender. Of course, people are going to go at that. And sure, it was a long time ago, but dude, like, Nicki, like, this is going to live with you for the rest of your life. And now that people know, and we're in the age right now of Twitter where everyone's just going at each other, of course, people are going to bring up this thing. And it's just, this is such a weak diss. And just the recording of it, the beat, and the bars in here, it's just not good. And then we get to the spoken word part. Funnily enough, under album of the year, the genre is spoken word. And I believe for like the last 2 minutes, I think it's just a drunk tangent. And then she's like, well, I wanted to say thank you to all of my fans. And don't make me put part 2 out. Stop lying on your dead mother. And that happens for like 2 minutes. And every time it stops for like 5 seconds of thinking, oh my goodness, the track is over finally. No, but she keeps on going. There's a point in time where she says a couple of things, and then it stops for maybe 7 to 8 seconds, thinking the track is over. But no, she comes back for another 30 seconds of just rambling. And then she stops again. And then she's like, was about to say something. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to save it for part 2. And then just, that's the end of the track finally. This track is terrible. I now have 3 songs in my worst rap songs of the year list, and we haven't even gone through the first month. There's great records this January. There's also some really bad ones that we're finding out. But the reason why I have the other 2 albums here is that this has been a downward spiral ever since 2018. Pink Friday 2, which I talked about in my was 2023 bad year for rap video, out of 46. I gave a little bit of a review, and I'll just repeat what I said again pretty much. this album is a mess. Nicki has no idea where she's going. She doesn't have a particular kind of direction anymore. She is just kind of following the trends, and she's really bad doing it. Especially when you consider the tracks that take old samples and old songs and just unabashedly just chuck them into a rap beat and just making it work for a TikTok hit. Sure, you got the one with Uzi, which is not good. I don't know why this single is getting pushed so much. But then you have samples from Billie Eilish, and I think you have the Girls Just Want to Have Fun sample. Like, all of these samples just thrown into these beats, thrown into modern type rap production. It's just getting so tired and getting so formulaic. And you can definitely tell the intentions are not to make good songs anymore, it's just to make viral hits. And I don't know why Nicki is doing this when she has been out of the limelight for so long. Not to say that she has been like completely out of it. She's always been here, but there's kind of this stage and point where you're kind of too old to be doing this stuff, or you're kind of above this. It's like, because if Nicki is considered one of the best female rappers of all time, and I'm not gonna say that. Like, I think she is one of the most important female rappers of all time. She was able to cross over into pop and work in both lanes. She does have some classic albums under her belt if you consider Pink Friday and The Pink Print. Both of those are great albums. But we're getting to this point now where it's 2023, and we are far past this point in Nicki's career where we have to stoop this low to get to these like very viral TikTok hits that are not going to stick around for that long. But then I also wanted to talk about Queen, which was at a 59. And this is where kind of the downfall really started. I remember she was very mad because I believe Astroworld dropped around this time, and Nicki Minaj called Travis Auto-Tune Man, and this was her lowest performing album at the time. I think it was like around 100,000 copies. I don't know what Pink Friday 2 got, but I'm thinking it's considerably worse as well. And this kind of the 59, I really don't remember this album much. It's very long. It's another album where the sense of direction is completely off. Uh, I think Nicki has not been able to find her sound or find a sound to stick to ever since 2017, 2018. And this is where it started off to just really go downhill. But it kind of comes into the big problem as to why Nicki, and I don't understand why she goes at everyone. She picks on everybody, and whoever gets higher on the pedestal, she always has to come up and just try to tear people down. Because I remember when Cardi B dropped Invasion of Privacy, and then I remember right when she announced Invasion of Privacy, Nicki came back like 12 hours later saying it's just like, well, now my album's coming out. I remember there was the motorsport thing, and it seems that just like Nicki is so hateful, and Nicki just did not want other female artists to win. And I know I'm speaking the perspective of a male, but the past few years, every time I've seen Nicki show up, it's always in response to another female rapper that is on the come up, that's doing very well for themselves. And Nicki has to come back around and remind us, just like, remember, I'm the queen of rap. I am the queen right now. You cannot take my spot, otherwise you're gone. And she always had a bit, especially the beginning of around like the beginning and around the middle point of the 2010s, where she did have that level of control. She did have that level of power to kind of dictate some female rappers' successes. And if she said that she was the queen, she had that kind of the clout, she had the notoriety, she had the albums to do it. But now we have so many other female rappers coming up. They are building their own fan bases. They're building their own catalogs of records that are starting to really just do really well. Like, I'm very happy of where female rap is getting into and how varied it's getting. Because you get the Sexy Reds, you get the Glorillaz, you get the Ice Spices, you get the Megan Thee Stallions, but you also get the Rhapsodies, you get the Little Sims. I believe her name is Soul Child. Like, there's so many facets now that weren't around when Nicki was kind of the most prevalent thing, or the most prevalent female in hip hop. So I don't understand why she's not being accepting of this generation, because if she was, I feel like this would cause her to kind of just tag along with the big wave that's happening right now, and she would be able to reach kind of the status where Megan Thee Stallion is now. Or she would gain the respect of so many of her colleagues. Because I remember when Invasion of Privacy came out and Cardi B was the biggest thing, she was bigging up like so many artists at the time, and she was collaborating with so many different people. And Cardi B had this personality that she wanted everyone to win. Nicki doesn't have that. Nicki has this entitlement that this was always hers and this will always will be hers. But now we're getting to the point where she's kind of just falling back, and she's now just the grumpy person in the background, thinking it's just like, this is where I used to be. I can't have anyone else have this. So that's why I kind of brought all this stuff up, is that this has been going on for a long time. And I'm kind of glad that we're seeing such a massive shift in the public opinion. And when it comes to Nicki Minaj, just make better music. Focus on your craft. If you don't want to make music anymore, that's fine. But why do we have to tear down so many artists that are just starting to gain a fan base, to start to gain some like reputation and gain some really good singles, and are starting to build their craft even more? As much as I don't like the Ice Spice EP, I'm kind of excited to see where she goes, because the personality and the meme culture that Ice Spice has built is so interesting to see. And not to mention, she's working herself out a little bit to work on different kinds of songs. Like Boys a Liar Part 2 is one of the best songs of last year. I didn't expect like Ice Spice to get on a Pink Panthers track. But everything is just kind of building itself out. So this is kind of a thing. It's just like, good on Megan Thee Stallion. Nicki Minaj, you need to calm down, and you need to actually just take a step back and just realize that maybe your time is up. Maybe your time in the spotlight is done. That's it.